Hi, my name's Ellen from the Spellbound Bead Company, and I'm going to show you how to make this summer jewellery collection. It's made using the polymer clay discs, which all come in these 8 different colours. And if you're looking for them on the website, they come under the ceramic bead category. Now, I've made the whole set using 2 strings of the beads. They come already on the string, but we would always recommend that you rethread them before you wear them rather than just attaching a clasp. So I've made, using 2 strings, I've made 2 necklaces, bracelet, 2 pairs of earrings and a ring. And the ones I've used to make those was actually the summer colourway and the marine colourway. But to demonstrate today, I'm going to use the Ibiza. I've made this necklace using tiger tail, crimps and crimp covers. So I've just grouped the little clay discs in groups of 15 and evenly spaced them around the necklace. And then I've used French crimps and then crimp covers over the top. You need the crimp covers on this necklace because the holes in the discs are quite large, so if you just use crimp they would still move around. So then you take a piece of tiger tail and then simply thread on your 15 of your clay disc beads. Obviously it doesn't have to be 15, it could be any number you like. You can on this one you might like to be a bit more regular in the colours that you're putting the colours on. I'm going for just a random, but move up there. And another 3. So if you slide them on, and if you bring them down to roughly the centre of your piece of tiger tail, then pop a French crimp on. There, so you want that to sit just on the end of the group. Squash that flat. Then do the same on the other side. Have to be careful you don't lose it up the centre of your clay beads. Yeah, squash that one flat as well. Now, in order to stop your beads from sliding over the top of the crimp and keeping them in their place, I'm going to use a crimp cover. Now these are often you can get special crimp pliers, crimp cover pliers in order to attach these, but you can do it just using a normal pair of chain nose pliers, which I will show you. So if you just simply slide it over the top of your crimp, get it to stay. Slide it over the top so that it's just sitting over the top of it like that. Then take your chain nose pliers and just very gently just squeeze and give it a little squash in that direction as well, just to make it a little rounder, like so. And then again do the same thing on your group on the other end. So there you can see it's sitting there, and then you just gently squeeze it together and then give it a little squeeze in that direction as well to make it a little bit rounder. It's all just gentle pressure, just to make it a little rounder and neater. And then you've got your group sitting in the centre of your tiger tail, and it's not moving. So then obviously either get yourself you can use a finger's width or 2 fingers width. Slide on your next crimp. I mean, if you could get your tape measure out, or you could find yourself at just a standard measurement so your groupings are all even. So in this case, or you could just do it by eye. In this case, but you'd go for sort of 2 finger width. Squash your crimp on. In this case, you can put your crimp cover on first before you've got the rest of your beads on there. So slide your cover on, gently squeeze it, and then gentle pressure in that direction as well, just until your bead's closed up, like that. And then you're ready to put your next set of, your next grouping of your disc beads on. Like so. And obviously you can do that. You can put as many or as few groups around the necklace as you like. It's entirely up to you. It's your design. So I'm just going to show you how to finish off the end. So once you've put all the groups on, bearing in mind that you don't need them to go all the way around the back of your neck, because you're not necessarily going to see them around there, so you can put the groups slightly further to the front. So once you've put your groups on, you're going to need to put your clasp on. So what you want to do is you want to thread on 1 little crimp bead, 1 little French crimp bead. Then you're going to put on, this is a 3mm round. Thread on one of those. Then you want to thread on another crimp bead. Then take your clasp, thread on your clasp, and then double your wire back through the first crimp bead, keeping that the first crimp and the 3mm round out of the way. So thread your wire through like that, like so. Pull your crimp bead up and squash that flat, like so. Now if you left it like that, even if you cut this bit off, it's going to have a nasty sharp bit sticking into the back of your neck. So what you're going to do is take your pair of scissors, trim your tiger tail nice and short. So it's just, you've got just about 1mm, 2mm sticking out from the crimp there. And then you want to slide the 3mm round up over the top of that little sharp bead of tiger tail, and then taking the first crimp that you slid on, squash that flat as well, and that will keep it nice and comfortable when you're wearing it. And then obviously just do the same thing on the other end. To make the bracelets, I've simply used the same technique as the tiger tail necklace, except obviously I've used just standard 3mm round beads and the spacing through the bracelet. And at the end of when you're using the crimp beads at the end of your bracelet, you can just simply post the ends of the tiger tail up the inside of the bead, so you don't need to put an extra bead on to cover those. And obviously I've put a crimp cover over the top of your crimp here too, just to stop the bead sliding up. The ring is made using needle and thread to stitch the discs onto a ring shank. It's a pre-made shank. It's got the holes pre-punched into it in order to be able to stitch on in a bit like a sieve. So what you can do is, if you take length of thread, I've got just over 1/2 metre here, and if you can take both ends of the thread, bring them together. So if you can thread both ends of the thread through the needle at the same time, which can be easier said than done. So if you thread both ends through, like so, that'll make it easier to give you a loop to start off with. So if you pass your needle up through the first hole on the end of your ring, like so, and pass it back down through the one on the opposite side. Like so, and then pass it through the loop of thread in the centre, and that shall secure it onto your ring, like so. Then what you need to do is pass your needle back up to the top. Pick yourself a disc, pass through the centre of the disc, and then pass your needle down through on the same, working along the same side through the next hole along. I'll give you a little loop. Then pass your needle over onto the opposite side. Pass your needle back up through that hole, down through the centre of your disc, and then through the first hole but on the opposite side, like so. So that gives you a loop, 2 rows of loops. Then you need to pass your needle back up through the hole you've just been using, on the second row. Like so. Try not to split your thread. Making sure that your loops of thread all go through the centre of your ring, don't go around the edge. Like that. Then thread on your next clay bead, and then pass your needle through, sticking it on the same side but the next row along, like so. Then cross over, up through there, then back down through the centre of your disc, and then through the previous row, like so. So your discs should be overlapping, like so. Then back up through, sticking to the same side, up through the hole you've just used. For a loop. Pick yourself another disc. And then back down through on the same side. The discs are just a nice shape to fit between the actual spacing of the holes on this ring shank, which is fortuitous. So you press up, down through the centre of the disc, and through the hole previously used in the last disc. So you want to keep doing this until you've got 5 discs on the one side. Now you can do them completely randomly, like I'm just picking them up at the moment, or you can order them so you get a more symmetrical pattern. make sure, because of the gap at the back of the ring, that you're not making an extra loop of thread. I'm using a contrast thread here, partly so you can see it, but also partly as part of the as a feature of the design. If you're using multicoloured beads, then you have to choose a colour. You're not going to be able to match all of them. Down through the previous one. So I'm just going to put the one more onto this side. Like so, making sure that your thread isn't getting looped in the places that you don't want them. So just the one more on. Like so. This side and down through there. So, and I've got a loop through there like that. Make sure I try that on the other side. There we go. So now you've got 5 on that side. So you want to pass your needle through down to the outer edge on this side. You will have a little bit of a loop of thread through the centre of your ring, but don't worry about that too much if you just pop your finger there so it doesn't, when you're stitching over the top of it as you're going along. It's on the underside, so we're not going to worry too much. So then you're going to repeat the process with your beads leading up the other side. So now you've got 2 rows of 5 beads on either side of your ring. You're going to pass your needle up through the central hole on the right hand side, like so. And then you're going to be popping one disc that's going to sit in the centre over the top. So thread that one on, then you pass through the centre of the disc on the left, down through like so. Then cross over onto in the same line, then pass back up through the centre of that disc, like so, and then back down through the centre of the new disc you've just placed on, like so. And then again do the same on the other side, just to keep your stitching nice and central, through the one on the left, down through the centre, so. Pass over onto the other side. I'm finding there's quite a lot of thread going on underneath now, so it might be a little bit trickier. Making sure you're not putting extra loops in. And then back down through the centre of the white disc and through underneath. So now I've got a central disc sitting in the middle there. And then you're going to stitch on, pass over to the other side, come up through that white disc like so. Like so. Then you're going to thread on one silver 3mm round like that. That's going to sit in the centre of the disc you've just placed on, and then you pass down through the disc opposite. making sure you go through the hole underneath like that. Positioning a little round so that it actually sits in the centre, over the centre hole, like that. Then pass your needle through. And then back up the hole on the opposite side. And then through the round again, like so. And then back down through the hole on the underside, just to secure that round in place in the centre, like so. And then all you need to do is just finish your thread ends off. So if you just pass your needle underneath some of the threads, then do through a double knot, like so, and then tie your thread off, and then pass your thread a little bit further along. Out of the way like so. And then if you've got some nail varnish, paint a little bit of nail varnish over all the threads on the underside, leave it to dry, and then you can trim your thread ends short and it shouldn't come undone. And there's your ring. To make your earrings, you simply need a head pin, an ear wire, some discs and some 3mm rounds. So obviously these ones, you need 3mm round at the bottom. That's to fill the hole so that the discs don't just drop straight off. And these ones got extra 3mm rounds to space them out. So all you do is simply thread on 1 3mm round and 2 discs, another one, and 2 discs, and then another 3mm round, 2 discs, pick up another one, there we go, another one, 2 more discs and a final round at the top, like so. And then you take your pliers and just bend the side over so it's sitting at 90 degrees, like so. Take your wire cutters, trim it down so it's just below a centimetre, and carefully cut the end, trim it off like that. And then take your round nose pliers, grip the end, and then just gently twist it round so that you've got a loop that's sitting at the top there, like that. Your ear wire, open the bottom and slide it on. To make this necklace, I'm going to restring the beads onto some cotton thonging, and then I'm going to use spiral lace ends on the end to attach the clasp. So what you need to do, take your piece of cotton thong, just tie a loose knot at the end, just to stop them dropping off while you're threading them on. Obviously, you can make this any length you want. That's the beauty of threading your own necklace. So the simplest way to thread them on is just, if you don't want them in a particular order, just slide them off the string and then you can slide them straight on to your cotton thonging. So again, just slide them off in a group and pass your thonging through the holes. If you're finding that your cotton thong is starting to fray at the ends, you can always get some nail varnish. Just paint the tip of your cotton and that'll stop it fraying, and it basically turns the end of your cotton into a needle. So just keep threading them on until your desired length. So once your necklace is at the length you want it, what you're going to do is trim the end off your cord. So leave it to between 1 and 2 centimetres. Just trim that off. Then you want to double it over like that, and then take your spiral end, post that double piece up the centre there, like so, and then taking your pair of pliers, you want to squash down just the last coil that's around the end of the spiral here. So just make sure you're gripping that and only that, and then just squash it down like that, and then that is anchoring on to the bottom there. We've got a little bit of the second, oops. If you've got a little bit of the second bit sticking out, you can trim that bit off as well. And then you need to untie your knot and do the same thing at the other end. Okay, so what you need to do is make sure that you give your necklace a little bit of a bend in it, because you don't want it poker straight, and because of the discs, the way they sit and the way they lie, you don't want them all squashed up next to each other. You want a bit of movement in there, so make sure that you've got a bit of movement in there before you trim the ends off. Then you can trim the end, double it over again, take your lace end, slide it up, then again take your pliers and then just grip the last one and then just squash it down like that, so that they sit on either end. And then all you need to do is just simply slide it open, a bit further open than that, twist it open, slide your clasp on, and then squeeze it shut again, and then pop a jump ring on the other end, which obviously doesn't want to. Let's try again. Pop a jump ring on the other end, and then close that up, and there's your necklace.